Supercell is back in the news, and to absolutely nobody's surprise, it's more negative PR. They just banned arguably the best Clash Royale player from their creator program for saying some controversial things.
Bro, the balance team need to get in the head, I'm not gonna lie.
We have a bunch more updates to get through today, including an update on the EricOneHive situation where he was banned off YouTube. Looks like Supercell might have actually won this one. We have more news on level 16 and heroes and what it means for the game. Shocker, it was a bad idea. But not only that, we have the revenue from December and January. Spoiler, the financials, they're not looking so good. This is the third video in the now Supercell trilogy. The first video, we went over their level 16 update and the introduction of heroes. Nobody was happy. In part 2, we took a deep dive into Supercell's, in my opinion, copyright abuse, where they were striking down creators. And you know what they say, every good series needs a trilogy, although it probably won't be as good as the first ones. So starting off our stories today, we have the ban of a major Clash Royale creator, Mohamed. Regarded by many as the GOAT of Clash Royale, he is a 3-time world champion. Mo has a YouTube channel with over 400,000 subscribers, and you might be wondering, what could he have done to get removed from the creator program? You'd think with the amount of notoriety he has and such a large fan base that he's obviously providing entertainment to, they'd probably want to keep him around because I'd guess he's making them a lot of money. Well, the statements are pretty crazy. Mo, like a lot of Clash Royale players and content creators alike, was not very happy with the level 16 and the heroes update. And he had some constructive criticism for the development team.
The hero mini P.E.K.K.A actually ruined the game, bro. Now, hero mini P.E.K.K.A and the giant are so stupid. Bro, the balance team need to get shot in the head, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so obviously a joke. I don't think anybody thinks that he was serious when he said that. Pretty crazy thing to say, yeah, but you know, at least he didn't double down.
Every single one of them.
It's funny, but yeah, no. You can be upset at me with this take. I don't know. Maybe people agree, maybe you'll disagree. I don't really have a problem with Supercell doing this. I know I hate them. They're pretty evil, but in this specific case, it's their game. They can kind of do whatever they want in that aspect. When they banned Eric, I was just having an issue primarily with them striking his entire YouTube channel down, taking things off platform when I didn't think the copyright system should be used in that manner. In this case, removing him from the creator program, and it is only a temporary removal, I don't think it's that bad. However, still not great for PR. Most people aren't going to take favorably to somebody of that level of popularity getting banned from the game for something that, like I said, most people would think it's a joke, even if it's a pretty crazy thing to say. One thing I think is kind of important to look at or highlight here is the contrast with the EricOneHive situation, which we will have updates in. Trust me, it's all going to tie in. So a brief recap on the Eric situation. Eric received 11 copyright strikes in a very short period of time, leading to his YouTube channel being deleted. And to this day, there's still no official word from Supercell's side. They haven't presented their side of the story, but a lot of people have speculated it's because Eric was calling out a specific employee on a live stream and complaining about them. And last time I took a look at the Supercell fan content policy, which is basically just a set of rules and restrictions that if you adhere to it, you're allowed to play their games and you're granted like a temporary license basically. And we think that if this is actually the reason that his channel was taken down, it would potentially tie back to the rule they have about dishonest or defamatory statements about Supercell and its employees. With him naming the specific employee, this is what most people think this leads back to. Now, as far as I know, because his channel was nuked off the face of the earth, there's not a way where we can go get an archive of the stream. I could be wrong about that. I've tried the Wayback Machine. I've tried looking around and I can't find an archive of it. But there is a Reddit thread, so, you know, we're going to take this with a grain of salt. We're not going to take it as absolute. This is the best we have for now, and we're going to kind of go through it and kind of compare some of his statements here. All right, so it looks like at about 3 hours into the live stream, Eric talks about being permanently banned from the content creator program. Obviously, someone at Supercell doesn't like me, but I know the same people who caused all the problems last year are still working there, and they're still causing problems. He then calls for the firing of that person. Next up, Eric names the employee. That's the person that needs to be fired. Yes, she's a former community manager, and she is a toxic piece of shit, and she needs to be fired. She is the one who issued the copyright strikes against Adam. We're going to skip forward like 20 minutes here. If anybody from Supercell who is responsible for everything that happened last year happened, then F you, you suck. You're a toxic piece of crap who should not be working for that company. And your existence makes it worse for every content creator who's part of that game. And I'm happy to be outside of it. Every content creator feels the same, but they can't voice it because of your record of being toxic and lashing out against them if they say anything. That aged pretty poorly, I'm not gonna lie. Eric talks about Clash Royale and how Supercell has a double standard and how Supercell is not enforcing the terms of service on Jynxzi because they're making so much money off of him. This is something I don't want to get super in depth with right now. Maybe in the future I'll look into it a little bit more in kind of a larger video examining Supercell. But in a lot of cases, there is a double standard when it comes to them, especially if people are making them a lot of money. But allegedly, there have been some bets made that would contradict their terms of service, and you would think get them removed from the creator program or have their video copyright striked just for consistency's sake, but it doesn't seem to be the case sometimes. Because as part of that fan content policy, you're not supposed to gamble or bet on their games. So on, the top comment, that's kind of what I was saying. I think removing Eric from the creator program was fine if he wasn't going to follow what they told him to do, but going after his entire channel seems like taking it too far. I think that's a pretty balanced take. That's about where I'm at with it as well. I guess it wasn't the first time that he butt heads with them. All right, so how does this compare to the new Mo Light situation? Obviously, you can just look from the timestamps that this was something that Eric talked a lot more at length about. Like we were looking at almost 20 or 30 minutes of yapping there about this situation. And there's a lot of stuff that's missing between the quotes that we just pulled out here. We don't have access to the full thing. So that's all we really have to go off of. And if we look at the statements that we just read and we compare those to what Mo Light said, I think that encouraging violence against the Supercell team, I think that's worse. Again, it was pretty obviously a joke. I think most people agree with that. And it was just a throwaway kind of one-liner thing where, like I said, this was a whole dialogue thing. But I do think if they're going to view it as a punishable offense, regardless of whether it may be a joke or not, it's just a little strange to value saying that you want somebody to get fired comparing to the execution of the balancing team. At the end of the day, it's their game. I really think they can boot anybody out of the creator program they want. I think they're kind of pussy for doing it. If somebody leaves a mean comment about me, I might not like it, but you don't delete it. You just move on. You just deal with it. You're just trying to push it down more. You're just going to drum up more drama and more people are going to be talking shit. Unrelated, but if you subscribe to the channel, you might actually help me grow it larger than my nose. It's probably not going to happen, but who knows? But this was not a permanent ban. This is going to be for 3 months. He has confirmed. Obviously, things could be a lot worse. He could no longer have his YouTube channel. This has not been determined whether this would hold up in a court of law, but, according to Supercell, their perspective on it is if you break their rules, they can take down any video they want of yours retroactively that contains their copyrighted materials. Eric did have some other drama with Supercell where he actually got his creator program moved. So I don't know, maybe they have some hidden strike system behind the scene, or maybe they just really didn't like the guy. I do think there is some double standard going on here maybe, but we don't have the full stream. We don't know exactly what he said. I don't know. That's all I have for here. I'm just kind of reporting on this one. I don't want to make too harsh of a judgment, but yeah, he's banned. Pretty crazy statement, in my opinion. Another Supercell L, but a little bit more understandable. All right, well, we were talking about Eric anyway, so I figure we might as well just give a brief update on his situation. So I made a Twitter account just for the sole purpose of checking in and seeing if there were going to be any updates. I planned to make this video a lot earlier, but I just wanted enough to happen and make the video actually worth it with the amount of content that's going to be in it. Doesn't matter, nobody cares. Basically, his Twitter has been silent since that last tweet on November 26th that we covered last time. But if you actually go look at his donation link that he had set up, we can actually find more information that's available directly in the GoFundMe. He has this update here from December 29th. So it is about a month ago. It kind of flew under the radar a little bit, like I said. Sorry about that. I probably would have covered this earlier. Eric said, first of all, thank you. Thank you to everybody who contributed to fighting against Supercell deleting channels that call out what I think most people would see as an abuse of the copyright systems to silence criticism of their business practices. Personally, opinion-based, I agree. I think it's copyright abuse. I think that they were doing enough to transform the content, and I don't think they should be able to retroactively take back the permission to use their content. What we're about to see I don't think we're going to be able to find out because the lawsuit looks like it's not going to be happening. Unfortunately, while I think we can all agree that what they did is morally wrong, the legal mechanism that allows them to do this is something that would take far, far more resources than I have to challenge. Luckily, my family and I will be fine with that YouTube channel because I expected they would eventually do this, and I planned accordingly. Yeah, and I mean, there are videos out there of Eric defending people that had copyright strikes levied against them as well, so it's not really surprising that he was prepared for them to do this to him, especially if they already had some kind of prior conflict. No lawsuit will follow, it seems, so I will be refunding the GoFundMe. I don't know what he means by it seems. I mean, it's his lawsuit, but thank you all for supporting me over the years. At least I can walk away knowing that I did the right thing, but unfortunately, the people who did this are unlikely to face any consequences, and Supercell is shielding them from responsibility. If I was running Supercell, then I personally would fire anybody who would attack the very creators that maintain the game's popularity. But it seems Supercell and I have very different ideas of what is right when it comes to business ethics. At least everybody knows now and can make their own decision on whether to support their games or not, but this is the end for me. It was good while it lasted. Thank you all again, and I wish you all the best. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised to hear that. He sounded pretty gung-ho about it when I was first covering the situation. But yeah, I mean, suing a company like Supercell that we're going to go over the revenue, even though it is falling, they are still making millions and millions and millions of dollars every month. They basically have unlimited resources when you just compare to one little guy. And especially with something with like copyright that is a lot more subjective in the eyes of the law, where, you know, it's not really super easy to say if something's fair use or not. You're actually going to need to go into arbitration for that. It's not surprising that he doesn't think that he has the resources that he needs to pursue this any further. It is interesting that, I mean, the GoFundMe goal was only like $5,000. Like, that just seems like such a small amount for trying to do something of this magnitude. I mean, and it seems like it was. So that's the end of this situation, I guess. I don't think there will be any more updates. Maybe there will be in the future, but it looks like Eric's channel is gone forever, which I never watched his content, but it is just sad to see happen regardless. And I don't mean to paint him as like a blameless angel. Like, I had a couple comments on the last one saying that, I don't know, they thought that I was portraying him as like totally innocent, which I don't think I was. I mentioned a couple times in the video, you know, that he might have said some things that led to his removal from the program and then the copyright strikes. But I just don't think the response to what he potentially said, based on what we know, matched the punishment. The copyright system wasn't the right avenue to punish him for breaking the rules, in my opinion. Yeah, that's all we really have left to cover in regards to that situation. So I wish him luck in his next endeavors. So we do actually have some good news coming up. I don't know, kind of like a bad news, good news sandwich kind of deal. So one of the channels we covered, Pokeshek, he made the infamous Clash Royale level 16 is just like the Holocaust. Obviously a very controversial video. I'm not surprised Supercell didn't like it. I'm not blaming them for not liking it. I do blame them for a copyright strike though, because in my opinion, the video seemed pretty transformative, even if they didn't like it. It doesn't seem like they tried to get in contact or anything beforehand, maybe even just request him take it down before maybe going that nuclear, because that really does have an impact on a YouTube channel. He was also a very small channel at the time. This hit #1 on trending on all of YouTube, which is crazy. And you know what? We're actually right up there with him just a couple weeks later. So thank you guys for all the support on the last video. I know I kind of dropped off the grid a little bit, but if I'm being honest, I had a little bit of like, I don't know, performance anxiety to follow that one up. It was a little overwhelming. But the video is back on YouTube. The strike has been released from the video. It is now back up with some minor tweaks to the title and thumbnail that was requested by Supercell, apparently. Now, do I think this was because of the video that we made on it? No, not at all. I'm just joking. Okay, now I don't actually think that we had anything to do with it remotely, but I did just kind of maybe want to take a stab at what I think might be going on here. So the YouTube copyright system is pretty broken. The people making the claims have a lot of power. They can initiate the claim, then it basically goes back to the creator. The creator can dispute or accept the claim, and then if they dispute the claim, they have to send their personal information back out, which YouTube will send to the person who has striked the video. The person who striked the video needs to then follow up with filing a lawsuit, and if that doesn't happen, the video will be restored. Obviously, it's a little more complicated than that, but that's just kind of a rough summary of how the process goes back and forth like that. And I think that's probably just what happened in this case. I don't think Supercell really wanted to go through with a lawsuit and going through that whole like legal process here. I think they really just suggested a couple title thumbnail changes that they thought was appropriate, I guess, in this case, and then they were fine with it going back up. In the Eric situation, I'm really, again, this is just speculating. I'm really not surprised that they wouldn't let the channel go back up, though, especially because he mentioned that he was going to be potentially suing them. Now, I can imagine that in Supercell's position, it would not be a good idea to retract the strike when there is a potential lawsuit coming from the person that you did strike. But just like looking at it from like a court's perspective, if you retract your copyright strike, that I feel like that helps build the case a little bit of the person that says that you falsely claimed their videos if you walk it back. So I don't know if they really had any other choice but to stand on business in that case. But yeah, positive end of the story. Bro's channel looks like it's popping off, doing better than ever. All right, so now we're going to be talking about the state of the game itself. Where we last left off, they had just added the Hero Giant, Hero Mini P.E.K.K.A, and the Hero Musketeer. People were not thrilled about this, myself included, because it felt like it changed the gameplay a lot and in a lot of ways made it feel a lot more pay to win, considering you did get a free hero, but you couldn't choose which, and people were not thrilled about getting, for example, the Giant when the other two seemed a lot better. All right, well, where are we today? It seems like Supercell has decided to not just double down, but go all in on heroes. Before, it seemed like they were going to be continuing to release evolutions alongside with heroes, but there have now been 4 new heroes added to the game without any evolutions. In between the last video, we got a Hero Wizard and a Hero Ice Golem, and now we have 2 new troops, which is the Hero Mega Minion and the Hero Goblins. Out of all these 4, the most broken to me seems like the Hero Mega Minion because it can teleport anywhere on the map technically to like the lowest health troop. And that's going to change so much with the game. People that play their cards at the back, like low elixir cards, that's going to change so much. And it's also weird that so many of the heroes they've released already have evolutions. Like now the Wizard, that was one of my favorites, has an evolution and a hero version. It's like, I could maybe understand a little bit more if you were going to go like 50-50, like half of them get heroes, half of them get evolutions. At least that kind of makes sense, I guess. But for some reason, they're just doubling up on half of them that have evolutions anyway. They just really are not cooking with these ideas. They're not super inspired or balanced or really make any sense at all, at least to me. Now, I quit the game a couple months back, so I don't have any opinions of like a current player that's facing these in every game or using them myself. But what I'm seeing for the most part is people are not liking these additions, very similar to how they didn't like the old heroes. It seems like Supercell's strategy is just continue to double down, and it doesn't really look like it's paying off. Jynxzi, the creator that's given most of the credit for reviving Clash Royale.
I'm way too erect to play right now, though. You know what I'm way too erect. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Oh my god!
Did you just come in your chair?
No! No!
Has announced that he's going to be quitting the game. This is a pretty major blow to them. Like I said before, a lot of people credit him with bringing a lot of relevance and popularity back to the game. And if he's disappearing from the game, a lot of his viewers are going to disappear too. He averages a lot of viewers per stream that contribute to the category and overall relevance of the game.
I am quitting Clash until I see something get fixed. Whether they stop releasing heroes, start releasing Evos again, start releasing champions again, until I see them do something positive, I am quitting this game. Stop releasing fucking heroes! Playing the game in the state that it's in just feels stupid. Which is sad, bro. I used to love streaming this game.
I've seen people straight up saying, like, we should ask them for level 17, then they might revert it. But Supercell will not be walking back level 16 in heroes. I can say that with pretty much 100% certainty. They've already opened Pandora's box. People have paid real money for the level ups and the heroes. They can't take it back at this point. Like, I know people still have hope in your heart, but it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have to break this to you, but the game is forever changed. And I definitely agree with Jynxzi, just the game is getting less fun to stream. I was having a lot of fun when I was streaming it, but obviously when I wanted to make some videos being critical of them, I just didn't even want to open the door to potentially having my channel striked, so I ended up removing all of them. But Man, that was when this channel was in its golden days, bro. We were streaming to like 500 people average, and the streams were a lot of fun, but you know, it's just the game is dying anyway, so maybe I jumped ship at the right time. I don't know. Another way we can kind of look at the popularity is checking out like the Twitch statistics, seeing the viewer numbers over time on the streams. You can see the game actually pretty much hit its all-time popularity in August of 25. And it's been on the decline again since then. Now, the game is by no means dead. You can see that by the graph of the people actually still producing content on it. It kind of hit a valley down here. I mean, it was not great from like 2018 to 2021, honestly. And then again, from like 23 to 25, it wasn't great. But I don't know, we might see a return to those numbers based on how things are going. And this one is actually kind of breaking. So Clash Royale just hosted a tournament the other day. Reportedly, it was a $75,000 tournament, and the numbers were not great on that investment. They also decided to do a halftime show with Lil Wayne for some reason. Lil Wayne, famously known for being part of the Clash Royale community.
I don't know what to do anymore, man. Interest in our game is down 50%. Our revenue is tanking, and people just hate heroes. No one wants to play our game. I got it. A Lil Wayne halftime show. That's it, bro. That will fix our game.
Clash Royale paid $75,000 for 250 viewers. 250 viewers on Twitch, and I saw it at 450 viewers on YouTube. 250 viewers, and that was with the whole Lil Wayne reveal event. Like, that cost them more than $75,000.
And I can't actually show this. I'm going to do my best to just explain what it was, but when they revealed the little halftime show thing, it's very obvious that AI was actually used in this. They had like a little animation with the game where all the troops were running off the field. But if you actually look at the King Towers on the side that you would be playing as, which would normally be blue, you can see that they're red. And then if you look at the bottom, there is like the elixir counter where normally you see how much you have. The bar is clearly not at 1, but the number reads 1. So it looks like some generative AI was used here, which has people upset for a whole nother reason at them. It's like they just seem to be getting lazier and lazier with pretty much everything they do. And it's crazy how much money and just overall resources they probably put into these tournaments when they're basically paying like $100 to hundreds of dollars for each viewer pretty much at that point. All right, and we have our final major thing to cover today, the financial state of the game. So 2 videos back, this was in December, I made a prediction. I said that despite adding level 16 and adding the heroes, it wasn't going to change anything. People were just complaining and there wasn't actually going to be any action. They were just going to continue to see record high numbers or close to it. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to make a future prediction. It's going to be better. It's going to be even better than November. You know why I think that? Because every single game I'm playing the Evo Mini P.E.K.K.A, which right now is only available if you pay. And I am thrilled to announce that I was wrong. Yeah, Supercell is declining in popularity and revenue alike. We can look at the Google Trends, which, you know, it doesn't give an actual like count of people that are playing the game where you don't really know that information publicly, but it does give an idea of the game's relevance in relation to its most and least popular. And we can see right at the start of November, the game is at its peak popularity within the past year. And now we come to the end of January, the start of February, it has fallen drastically. While it was at 100% of its search volume in that earlier time period, it has fallen down to 18% of that. And you can see that right at the end of November, the game obviously wasn't at its most popular. It was at like 67%, which is still not bad at all, but it wasn't at its peak. You can see though, right after that, when they dropped their updates, that's when the real decline started. It still was, you know, having a natural like up and down cycle. It's obviously can't beat its #1 popularity all the time. This is where the downfall started though. We can see that in the data. We can also see in November that Clash Royale's revenue was $68 million, pretty much near their peak all-time revenue. The game was still killing it at this point. And this is where I base my prediction off of. We're going into December. There's a bunch of new content that is very pay to win. We have the new level 16, we have the new heroes. I thought people were going to just be shelling out money. It is the holiday season. Kids are getting their gift cards for Christmas.
Okay, $19 Fortnite card. Who wants it?
I really thought this was going to be a banger month for Supercell, but there was another revenue drop. It dropped to $58 million, which that is still an insane amount of money, don't get me wrong, but The game is on a continual downtrend where you'd think this would be one of the best performing months if what they thought their business plan was going to be actually worked. It clearly didn't. They probably thought they were about to see 100 million pop up in their account, bro. And these are all just reported numbers. We don't actually get like the real ones from Supercell. I don't think they want to just give all that stuff out, but all right. And as we finish up the month of January, leave a comment. Take a guess what you think the revenue is going to be. It has dropped another $20 million to 36 million. Now, I do want to add a little bit of nuance here. January stuff, financial stuff, typically doesn't perform as well. It's right after the Christmas and holiday seasons. So typically revenue takes a hit for a lot of things. That probably contributes to it partially. But at the same time, we saw the decline in December. It's continuing into January. I think we'll get a really good idea when February is finished, but it's not looking good. Things are getting worse. It is still a ridiculous amount of money to be making each month, but it is nowhere near their peak. They've fallen halfway down. And you know, I quit the game back when I dropped that second part of the series where we covered the copyright strikes. I deleted all the Supercell content off my channel. And honestly, man, I've never felt more free. That game was so rage inducing. I hit my 10,000 trophies and I was out of there. And I think I'm not alone. I think a lot of people have actually seriously quit the game for real this time. Everybody is sick of the Supercell cycle of abuse where they introduce a new update that everybody hates. They try to bribe people with some event or some gems or something to try to make them forget about it. Then they'll slightly nerf the update back so people are like, oh, you know, this isn't actually so bad. And then they do the whole thing over again. People aren't stupid. They're going to get it eventually. And if you make a pay to win game, people aren't going to be able to keep up with that forever. They'll still have their whales, I'm sure, forever. But, you know, they're losing a lot of ground to common players like me. I played it on stream. I got a couple super chats. I don't know, maybe we spent like $20 on the game. Yeah, I think like the little guys like that, they're going to be missing out a lot. I just want to close with the idea that all Supercell had to do was nothing, and they would have continued to be massively successful for the foreseeable future. But it seems like they saw a little bit of success. They let it get to their head. They tried to hyper monetize the game, and now it is fading faster than it would have otherwise.
Mike, you owe me that much.
I don't owe you a damn thing. All of this falling apart like this is on you.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that's some kind of logic right there, Mike.
We had a good thing, you stupid son of a bitch. We had Evos. We had champions. We had everything we needed. It all ran like clockwork. You could have shut your mouth, cooked, and made as much money as you ever needed. It was perfect, but no. You just had to blow it up. You and your pride. Your ego. You just had to be the man. If you had done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine right now.
All right, that was not funny enough to have destroyed my voice, but thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the support on the last video. Even if this one flops, we had a pretty good run, didn't we? We are becoming generational Supercell haters on the channel. I don't know if I'm going to do any more follow-up videos in the future. I might, if there's anything worth talking about, or maybe even a more comprehensive history of them we might get into at some point. But for now, we're likely going to be moving on. If you like the video and want to see more, feel free to drop a sub, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
Downfall, downfall, downfall.
Also, on the last video, I don't know why, but a lot of you thought my background was AI. I don't really know where that came from. Like, we're... Grown-ass man, by the way.